Good evening, everyone. Let me explain how to cite author books correctly according to the APA 7 edition style using Mendeley Desktop. In text citations, let's start talking about styles because we're going to use them on the whole video. We can have narrative style in which the author is part of the sentence, is part of the idea, or we want to give more emphasis to the author. Also, we can have a parenthetical style in which the key aspect is not the author but the quote, the text, the idea itself. Bearing in mind that we can have direct quotations, be aware that the APA established one rule for those quotations that have less than 40 words and another rule for those that have more than 40. In this case of citation with more than 40 words, you have to isolate the citation in another paragraph. In this kind of citation, I would like to use a parenthetical style, so I must write it at the end. I click on Insert Citation. I look for the author of this quotation, Jack Richards, 2001, with Theodore Rogers, and I backspace 2 times in order to insert the number of the page. This was taken on page 12, so I click on OK and voila. Don't forget to add a period at the end of the quotation. But in this first one, it has less than 40 words, so you can join or you can have that quotation inside your text. In this example, I would like to use a narrative style, so I must begin writing his surname. Garrett-Rocks is his surname. The hyphen is part of his surname, so you must write this. I click on Insert Citation. I look for his book, Intercultural Competence, but attention to this. Since I already wrote the name, I only need the date. So I click on Suppress Author and it will generate the date, which at the end is going to generate the reference. Then don't forget that direct quotations need the number of the page which you took that idea. So in this case, it's going to be parenthesis, P, period, space, and the number of the page you close parenthesis. Another way of citing is paraphrasing. It means that you take the ideas from one author or one book and you express them with your own words. In this citation, you only need the surname of the author, the date, but not the page. In this case, I'm going to provide an example with an idea from a book with 2 authors. I'm going to use a narrative style. I would like to use their surnames in my idea, so I begin alphabetically with Anderson and Larsen-Freeman is her surname, so use the hyphen. Insert citation. I look for them and their book, Anderson, Techniques and Principles, and attention, I double backspace. I suppress the author because I only need the date and I already wrote their surnames. So it's going to generate the date and voila, it's ready to generate references later on. After talking about direct quotation and paraphrasing with one author, Littlewood, 2 authors, Anderson and Larsen and Freeman, what about books with 3 or more authors? For example, this one. Well, in a narrative style, you start writing the first one alphabetically, Alderson et al. Period. Then you insert citation, look for their book, Alderson, and since you already wrote the first surname, you suppress the author and you generate the correct date. Finally, let us explain how to check the output from the Mendeley plugin in our document against models to ensure that the output is correct. So always have a model. So in this case, we have the APA model for reference of author books. In the first reference, we might see that although we have a correct surname, Alderson, one initial, then we have a name, which this is incorrect. We don't have to write names on this edition. Why is this error? Well, maybe the user must be aware of clicking on the correct edition. 7th edition, on 6th edition, it was possible to write names. So in this edition, it is not correct. Another common problem is going to be seen on the reference number 2. On the reference number 2, we find that names and dates are correct provided. But we find one common error, and is this: the book. The book is not correct written using correct capitalization. Only the first letter must use capital letter. Why is this error? Well, it depends on the user. When you register the name of the book, you have to make sure that you write it in lowercase. So we look for Freeman, Larsen and Freeman, and we find that all the words are on capital letter. So we lowercase language teaching, and in that way it's going to give us a correct output later on. The last one doesn't have everything is correct according to the output, according to the model. The problem is the information, specifically this: the author and the date. Always double check the information you enter on the Mendeley. If we look at this book, Approaches and Methods in Language Teaching, we must do that or either on Google Books or Amazon. And the first error is going to be seen like this: Richards, Jack. But this book was not only written by Jack Richards, it was also written by Theodore Rogers. And the problem number 2 is it has an incorrect date, which could lead to the reader of this paper to look at the incorrect book or the incorrect source of information. So we must correct that, because if we go to example Amazon, we're going to find that it was not published on 2005 but on 2001. So let's go to Mendeley. Let's go to look for that book, Richards, Approaches and Methods in Language Teaching. 2005 is 2001, and let's go to add the other author, Theodore Rogers, the first name, the first Theodore Rogers, Rogers Theodore. Yeah. Finally, it is important to say that we are using an edition, a second edition. So we must register that on the Mendeley, second edition. And that's it. After we do those improvements, we're going to insert bibliography, and we're going to find that Richards and Rogers 2001, and in the case of Larsen and Freeman is going to have the correct capitalization. Thank you very much.